sun rises in the east, it sets in the west, and Auburn is a toxic civil war once again. Like, stop me if you heard this one before. Auburn's going through a coaching search, and a civil war has erupted as once Lane said no to stay at Ole Miss. You had the very predictable reaction of a lot of people like, well, good, I didn't want Lane anyway. I don't really think he would have fit. And then Auburn's plan B
Lane's
the entire
not really
time.
an Auburn guy anyway.
I know, dude. That Will Herring video was so freaking dumb. But there's been a lot of that, right? Like, Lane would not fit, blah, 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 blah. And then plan B, Hugh Freeze from Liberty, of course, somebody who's won a lot of good football games. But imagine this. Controversy erupted among the fan base when it was announced they were going to hire Hugh Freeze. Who could have seen it coming? I mean, what?
Hugh
Out
Freeze,
of left
controversial,
field.
the head coach of Liberty?
Can't believe it. Aaron, you're shaking your head. Which part of this are you shaking your head at?
You're in a position to hire, I think, two very, very, very good coaches, and either one can turn your program around in a year, and you're just bitching and moaning. Just hire Cadillac. Just hire Cadillac. You know, Lack is you want Lack. The fans want Lack. You could probably get him a little bit cheaper too.
The fans do not want Lack, dude. The fans do not want Lack. Auburn fans would be furious if they actually committed to Lack.
So? I don't think so. This is how I view head coaches. This is how I view head coaches. They're CEOs. They're motivators.
Yeah, for sure.
This is why I think Dion would be a successful head coach somewhere if given the opportunity at a Power 5 school. You don't need to be an X's and O's guy. You don't need to be Lane Kiffin.
What does Nick Saban know about X's and O's?
Yeah, look, he does
on defense. He knows a lot about it on defense. But you don't need to necessarily do that if you can hire good OC, DC. But if you can motivate a team, which Lack has shown that he can, and recruit, and then hand it and go raise money and go help with NIL any way you can, that's all you need to do. You don't need to go out there and deal with the X's and O's.
I don't disagree, because these are the exact same arguments that we had when a case was being built for Ed Ogeron to get the head coach at LSU job, and it worked wonders there. I mean, yeah. it wasn't, the original hiring process was not flawed. It was maybe just how Coach O handled the success of putting together that 15-0 season and everything that happened thereafter that ended up being the downfall there. But I do think that Auburn fans would not be happy with Lack. Now, maybe it wouldn't be the drama, but like
Dion would have to say no. Dion, if you cannot give offer Lack if Dion's still on the board.
The problem is Auburn fans, thanks to you, Aaron Murray, have been sitting here sniffing their own farts about how they're a top 10 job. And, last four coaches except for Brian Harsin have coached or played for national championships, and now they can't even get a coach. Lane said no. He said, I don't want any piece of that. I'm staying in Oxford. They're going to pay me $9 million. I'm not dealing with y'all's BS drama. He's chilling. He's chilling, just like we said he might. And then now you got Hugh Freeze, who desperately wants to be there. If only Hugh could have avoided DMing a young woman who was part of a sexual assault case against the president of his university in the middle of the case. Hugh can't help himself. And that's the funniest part about this is you have all these Auburn fans talking about how, like, okay, there's that Will Herring video, who's a former Auburn linebacker, and he does this whole video based on what, the great integrity of Hugh Freeze. And I want to be clear, every personal interaction I've had with Hugh Freeze has been awesome. He was coaching at Ole Miss back in the day when I was being recruited. He was so kind and so nice. He's a very good recruiter in terms of, like, he remembered you and your family. When I saw him years later, it's the exact same thing. I have never had a negative personal interaction with the man. Unfortunately, his actions outside of whatever interactions I've had with him would not speak to stuff like integrity necessarily. Yeah. So to watch all these Auburn fans try to explain away, but like these Auburn fans want to act like Lane's a bad guy and Hugh Freeze is a good guy just because Hugh Freeze evangelizes. And I think that's a little absurd.
Well, like because Lane said no. It's like, oh, I didn't like her anyways. I didn't want to take her out to dinner. I didn't want her to be my girlfriend. No, she didn't want you, and now you're making some sort of excuse. Like, I guarantee you right now, if both guys walked into Auburn's front office today and said, give me the job, every fan and their mother would say, we want Lane Kiffin. You're just sad because he said no.
100%.
He denied
100%.
And now you're trying to act like you didn't want
now
him.
they're doing the mental gymnastics of, well, Lane's not an Auburn man anyway, and he wouldn't fit in.
Bullshit.
It's like, okay, so wait, so you don't like Lane because he has consensual relationships, maybe like a co-ed or a younger woman or something, but like because Hugh Freeze professes Bible verses, he gets to sleep with prostitutes on the company's phone. And I have no problem with sex working, okay? I have no problem with prostitutes whatsoever, okay? In fact, I think it should be legalized, right? I think it should be legalized so it's like, so everybody has protection in the deal and you can have rights as workers and everything. Like I have no moral or ethical problem with literally the oldest profession in the world. But the problem is when you say one thing and you do another. That's the disconnect. And that is quite literally like you can have integrity and sleep with prostitutes if you say that you do. That's the whole point of integrity. Are you the person that you claim to be? Yes. And that's the problem with Hugh Freeze is that it just feels like there's a bit of a disconnect there. And he has a track record where there's not just one or two, but there's like 3 or 4 things that would maybe speak to that.
All right, snips and snaps.